Hello friends, first of all good morning. uh, Hope you are all fine and doing well. Today in this video we will be continuing our discussion on the Verger which we have started in the previous video. So as far as we have learned, we found that the Vicar called the Verger into the vestry because he had something to tell the Verger. And so when these two persons were walking up the church, the Verger he praised the Vicar for his for playing his part in the christening ceremony. First of all, he told him that it was very good on his part to be. It was very good on his part to actually stop the infant crying, to stop the infant cry, and when he said it to the vicar, Albert Edward Foreman was aware of the fact that the vicar would be pleased to receive such a compliment from the Verger. And after hearing this from the Verger, the vicar he very proudly said that it was very customary for him. It was a regular task for him because he had been involved with this christening ceremony for the past few years, and he was also aware of the fact that nurses and mothers they used to watch him with amusement and admire this particular talent in him, and the way he holds the baby in his arms, and the baby stops crying. And so this was a very good talent on the part of the vicar. Now let's see what happens. So when these two people went to the vestry, the vicar entered the vestry first, and he took his seat. He sat in between the two charge wardens who were already seated there. The Verger entered later, and when he entered there, he saw the two charge wardens seated there, and they were sitting in a repository table. That means a long dining table in a religious institution, especially a church. On Albert Edward Foreman, the Verger of St. Peter's Neville Square, he sat opposite to those people. Facing those people, he sat opposite to them. And those two charge wardens were elderly men, and they had been working at St. Peter's Neville Square since Albert has been working there. That means they were very well known to each other, and so when Albert entered, they greeted him respectfully, and he also greeted them. That means all of them they exchanged greetings, and Albert sat opposite to them. Now Albert, after entering there, he could sense that the vicar he bore an expression which was friendly. There was nothing which could be seen in the vicar's face. He was his face bore a normal look, but he could sense that those two charge wardens who were sitting with the vicar, their face resembled some. Their face bore something else. Their expression was a bit troubled. They gave a troubled expression, which actually made Albert think that something was messy. अल्बर्ट ने सोचा कि दाल में कुछ काला है, क्योंकि जो विकर जो है उनका फेस में कुछ ऐसा नज़र नहीं आ रहा था, पर बाकी जो लोग उनका साथ बैठा था उन लोगों का जो फेस है उन लोगों का फेस में ये नज़र आ रहा था कि वो लोग थोड़ा सा चिंतित थे. सो एल्बर्ट को थोड़ा सा ऐसा लगा कि दाल में तो कुछ काला है. And then what happened is that Albert Edward Foreman, he said to himself that yeah, this new vicar, he is actually pressurizing those two charge wardens to do something which they don't like. This was which Albert Edward Foreman he told himself. He spoke to himself regarding this. Now Albert Edward Foreman, he was a bit worried while sitting there because he could sense from the faces of those three people who were sitting opposite to him that something was messy. And but even though he was worried, his face did not it was not shown in his face. That did not emerge in his face. The worry did not emerge in his face. And Albert Edward Foreman, something came to his mind. He remembered one particular occasion which happened in a church when the organist means a person who plays a musical instrument in a church. So when that particular organist he had a trouble, and that particular thing was discussed in the repository table. So that particular incident came to his mind, and Albert still remembered that how all of them and that part you should also remember that that particular incident happened when the old vicar was in charge of St. Peter's Naville Square. So at that particular time everyone was united, and they all tried to quiet things up. That means they all tried to solve the matter. But since this new vicar is a different person, and he is someone who actually is not that much attached to the people who work along with him, so Albert could sense some difficulty. So Albert he thought to himself that a church like St. Peter's Naville Square cannot actually offer scandal. That means since St. Peter Naville Square was a reputed church, it was a reputed institution. It would be very bad to have a scandal associated with the church. So Albert was worried about it. And the Verger noticed that the vicar he bore a friendly expression, and those two church wardens, as I've told you earlier also, their face showed something else. That means their face showed that actually something was messy. And the Verger said to himself that the vicar is trying to pressurize those two church wardens into doing something which they don't like, and that was actually visible in their faces. Since Albert was a clever person, though he was worried that something is messy, but this worry did not, and this worry was not expressed in his face. That means he was quite behaving normal there. His attitude towards them was respectful, but he was not that much obedient. That means he was not extra obedient or not extra attentive to those three people whom he was facing. Now, our author, William Somerset Maugham, he tells us about Albert's journey, how he started working at St. Peter's Naville Square, and before working at St. Peter's Naville Square, where he worked and all those things, and now the author shares with us. So, before joining St. Peter's Naville Square, the reputed church in London, Albert had been in service in a number of good houses, and therefore his posture was faultless. That means his body language was faultless. There was no fault which could be sensed in his body language. He started his work as a page boy in the house of a merchant prince. That means a wealthy person with a lot of political influence. First of all, he was a footman. Then, by virtue of his hard work, he became first footman. Now, a question might arise in your mind: what is a footman? A footman is actually a receptionist. He is a person who sits on a table, and he guides people whoever visits there. He actually guides visitors. For a year, he was a butler. Butler means a male servant in the house of a peers. The word peer means someone who is equal in degree, age, talent. That means equal. Okay, so here Albert was a butler. That means the male servant of a widowed peeress. Means a widowed. That means that particular the house in which Albert worked was a woman. The owner of the house was a woman. Since her husband had died, she is a widow. And here, peeress is used to refer to the previous occupation of Albert's master, the occupation of Albert's previous master. So now, before joining St. Peter's Naval Square, before a vacancy came up at St. Peter's Naval Square, Albert also worked as a butler, as the male servant of a retired ambassador with two men under him. And from all those experience which he has gathered in all those houses which he had worked, it was quite enough for him to work as the Verger of St. Peter's Naval Square. And that is where he developed his personality and his body language, and there was no fault in that. So Albert, now our author, he tells us about Albert's physical features and also throws some light on his appearance. Albert was tall, he was thin, and he was smart. He was silent and dignified. Though he did not look like a duke, a duke is a prince. Though he did not look like a duke, he had the characters of a duke in him. That means he looked. The author here says that he looks like an actor who belonged to the old school and who was specialized in duke's part. And Albert, he had a very good skill in dealing with people. He could deal with people very easily. He had excessive determination, and he was self-confident. Nobody could ever doubt or question or criticize his character. That is, since Albert has gathered a lot of experience before coming to St. Peter's Naval Square, he had worked in the houses of a number of wealthy persons and a number of high-ranked people. There he developed his body skill and his self-confidence, and so nobody could question his character or nobody could actually criticize him. So what the author actually means to say is that Albert's character was flawless, and there was no doubt in his character. So that's all for today, friends, and we will discuss the remaining portion of the chapter in our next video. Thank you one and thank you all.